line of what I'm trying to share to you today. I'd like to say that conflict in the desert precedes communion, and it even precedes commitment. Conflict. You go into your closet as Jesus said we should do. Jesus said, when you pray, go into your closet, and after you have shut the door, pray to your Father which is in secret, and the Father which sees in secret will openly reward you. I want to tell you, the minute you go into that closet and you close the door and you say, this hour is God's, instantly you go there to meet God, and Satan shows up right away. There he is, to distract you, to tell you about all of the things that you should have done last week. One of the best things you can do is to take a notepad with you into the closet. So everything that Satan brings to your attention, you just write down. As a matter of fact, if you do that, I'll tell you, you will not miss a single thing that you have to do. Everything comes to you the minute you enter into the closet. So what you do is you recognize that there is going to be a time of conflict. If you had a sordid past, Satan will throw it up into your face. Even your forgiven past will come to mind. And he will bring into your life every discouragement, every way to derail you, every way to put you down and to say, what makes you think that God is going to hear you after the way in which you've lived your Christian life? This is a waste of time. And you go through all those times of agony. I want to tell you that the minute you go into the desert, the minute you go into the closet and close your door, within you all of the serpents that lie on the bottom of your heart will rear their ugly head. And you'll know that you are not just meeting God. Satan has come to take your desert time and make it a time of hopeless discouragement. Sidlow Baxter, a great preacher, talked about some of the struggles that he had. He was going to get up at 5:30 in the morning to pray. We're not asking you to do that because that may be a little early. But notice he says, just as the stars in their courses fought against Sisera, so the stars in their courses seemed to smash my well-made plans to smithereens. I would rise at 5:30, 15 minutes to wash and dress, and then an hour and a half for prayer and Bible study. I had it all planned out, but I won't take time to tell you of all the subtle ways that Satan used to trip me up and trick me out of keeping my plans. My times for prayer were getting crowded out, and my periods for Bible study were getting scarcer. And what is worse, he said, I began to get used to it. He said, I began to excuse myself. My prayer life became a case of sinning and repenting. Every time I got down to pray, I had to start weeping and ask the Lord's forgiveness. I had to repent that I hadn't prayed more. Then it came to a crisis, he says. At a certain time one morning, I looked at my watch, and according to my plan, for I was still persevering, I was to withdraw for an hour of prayer. I looked at my watch, and it said, time for prayer, Sid. But I looked at my desk, and there was a miniature mountain of correspondence, and conscience said, you ought to get those letters answered. So I swithered, he says. Prayer letters. Shall it be prayer letters? Prayer letters. Yes, no, yes, no. While I was swithering, a velvety little voice began to speak in my inner conscience. Look here, said, what's all this bother? You know very well what you should do. The practical thing is to get those letters answered. You can't afford time for prayer this morning. Don't you think the Lord knows how busy you are? You're converted, you're born again, you're in the ministry, people are proud of you, you're having conversions. Doesn't that show that God is pleased with you? And even if you can't pray, don't worry about it. Face up to it. You're not one of those spiritual ones. By the way, is there anybody here today that can relate to that? He says, I don't want to use extravagant phrases, but if you had plunged a dagger into my bosom, it couldn't have hurt more. I'm not the introspective type, but that morning I took a good look into Sidlow Baxter. I found that there was an area of me that did not want to pray. Is there anybody here that knows of such an area in your life?
Well, my friend, all of us know that area in our lives, don't we? This is Pastor Lutzer, and most assuredly you're going to have to tune in next time to find the end of that story, because Sidlow Baxter's struggle is our struggle. And thankfully, he won the struggle, and so can you, and so can I. But I want you to be encouraged. All the saints of the past have all struggled regarding this matter of prayer. It isn't easy. I've walked with God for many years, and even I still struggle with the whole idea of prayer, sometimes because of time pressures, but sometimes because things are going reasonably well, and I don't find that overwhelming need to pray. Well, I've learned that those are the moments when I need to pray the most. Because I'm on the verge of making a wrong decision. I'm on the verge of depending upon my own strength. I'm on the verge of giving into temptation. Jesus said people ought always to pray and not to faint. And to the disciples, you recall, he said very clearly, watch and pray that you enter not into temptation.
Thank you, Dr. Lutzer. The struggles of Sidlow Baxter are the very real struggles in the desert, part of our call to follow Christ there. Erwin Lutzer is continuing his series, What Would Jesus Do? And tomorrow we'll resume the story of one man's battle to be faithful in prayer. Running to Win comes to you from Chicago's Moody Church to help you understand God's roadmap for your race of life. The complete 4-part series on What Would Jesus Do can be yours on CD, cassette, or MP3. For full information, call toll-free at 1-800-215-5001. That's 1-800-215-5001. There are many ministry resources available from Moody Church. To learn about them, visit our website. You'll find us at runningtowin.org. Don't forget, Running to Win is supported by listeners like you. This is Dave McAllister. Join us for tomorrow's Running to Win.